Well, um, hello. That failed horribly. It's like I didn't stream for the past eternity, that I forget the most basic kind of shit. You'd think after 100 days that's something you remember, right? That you have to stay on the page where you click go live, right? For it to load long enough to then tell you you are live, for you to then actually be live. So I just streamed an hour to nobody and nothing. I wonder where all of that like data went, because the streaming software sent it somewhere, right? Anyway, terrible dog shit. Terrible dog shit. So just gonna do something else because I do actually have to go now. Very unfortunately. We'll just talk a little bit, figure out what I actually want to do for the next few streams. Go over what we did here with character 100-day thing test. Right, let me just stand up here for a second. But before I keep on yapping, let me actually make sure everything works now. So give me a second here. All right. Well, it's not going to get any better than this, unfortunately. Not in the foreseeable future, at least. So, yes. It is what it is. I guess today is just going to be like the official stream for today is just going to be a yapping stream. Just a little bit of theorizing, right? Making plans, because I can't seriously stand here and draw. I just don't have the concentration today. Basically my leg is hurting really hard, like way too much. I can't believe I didn't. How did I not? Can't believe that happened to me, but I guess it happens. Even though I was there on time, even though I started everything up, I still failed miserably. Oh well, okay, no matter. So, a few thoughts on this. Well, while drawing, right, all of these things here, I do have to say, I fixed a lot more than I thought I would, as in, with this stage, right, where I am with Psycho right now, where it's basically just drawing the clothes, putting on some detail, you know, perhaps some shadows here and there. Right? The stuff I did here, basically. And these very terrible, terrible hands. Very terrible hands. But regardless, right? I didn't think I would fix as much as I did in terms of just, for example, how long the legs were, the angle. I'm still not quite sure if what her leg is doing here looks right. At least not in terms of what's going on with the skirt. That much I know isn't looking right. But that's okay. You know, happens. Because I mean, I could do it like this, right? Just leave it out, essentially. Or maybe do something like this, maybe? I don't know. I haven't drawn enough skirts, like pleated skirts, I think is what they're called, right? To properly understand where things should be. And yeah, we'll see. Yeah. Anyway, I wanted to actually let me backtrack a little bit. While I was drawing this stuff, right, when I started out and everything, I made a bunch of rules, right? Right, I thumbnailed. Let me see if I can find the rules actually. Where did I write this down? I think in a special folder, training variables, right, limitations. Okay, so the point of all of this, right, of the day 100 characters file here is to test my skills, right? And I'm trying to do that by limiting the variables. So that I don't have like all the possibilities in the world, I decided to limit myself. And the limitations are as follow. So 2 full body humanoid characters. They need to be of an existing franchise, so not OCs. I have to fully render them without direct reference. So I'm not going in to find a piece of reference, right? Where the pose, where the character, where the whole piece is essentially done and I just redraw it, right? I don't want to do that. On top of that, there is no time limit. I don't draw backgrounds, but I have to thumbnail. So layout essentially what I'm going to draw, right? I decided on this. This is the second thumbnail I did, and I thought I'd like to have them sit. I don't really want to draw them standing. I didn't want to draw them standing really. So yeah, that's what we decided on. And while I was drawing all of this, right, I figured I might as well just try and actually use everything at my disposal. Because I am, if I may say so, right, I'm pretty good at drawing all of the drawing with reference, I guess, isn't the right word. How do I phrase this? It's weird. When I look at reference, even if I'm not copying anything in particular from it, right, my lines just get cleaner. I don't know why that is. So, for example, I had as reference, let me see if I can find it. Art drawings reference. Right. So I had this drawing here. Insert this reference image. This is what I looked at from time to time to have as reference, despite her skirt being not the right length, I believe. But I don't quite remember now. I haven't watched the show in quite a while. Let me think. I'm fairly certain that this isn't her actual skirt length, but I might be mistaken. No, it isn't actually. Yeah. Right, she gets the black skirt later on, and I think she has a longer skirt for before that, which I think reaches to the knees or almost, or slightly over. So yeah. Anyway, this is what I looked at as reference, if you can say that. Now that I'm looking at it, I really don't like the arm. I really don't like this arm. Something's going on here that I don't like. I'm thinking of rectifying that. The question is just how do you do that? All right, I really don't have that much time, but I didn't just want to leave like a 10-minute stream here. It's very sad. So yeah, anyway, point is I just wanted to actually try and pull out all the stops to see how well I could actually really draw if I tried, right? But I didn't, as I said earlier, I don't want to use like direct reference. I'm not, redrawing any of this really. I used some parts of how the clothes are drawn here, right, as you can see. And I think, what else? Not much actually. I used a different reference for most of the clothing, which was like this character sheet I found somewhere on Pinterest. I think this is actually from the original artist of the show, the manga, I think. But don't quote me on that. I'm not quite sure, because Pinterest severely lacking in any sort of accreditation, I guess. Accreditation? Credit, essentially, of who truly drew what you're looking at. And so, yes. Anyway, just have to remember this for the next time when I'm doing like this little test in a way, So, yeah. It turns out that I do really well also with a bunch of guidelines, though I really have to work on my anatomy knowledge. Like this leg is tilting me to this day. I can't look at it without getting angry. So yeah. Anyway, still trying to work out the eyes here with Kivia, but yeah, it's essentially what I did today. In the stream that wasn't recorded apparently, was just drawing the eyes, moving it around a bunch of times with the freehand selection tool, because I just couldn't get the angle right. I'm still unsure about the left eye here. Still looks wrong in a way. But I'm trying to keep in mind the 6 out of 10 rule. And sometimes, even with that, I just draw really well. I like it. Like I like Psycho's face here. I really like what I did here. And I'm really just trying to keep myself from perfecting anything, you know. Still thinking of moving her entire torso a little bit lower. So like the arms, essentially like the bow, the arms, the shoulders, and the head and hair. Thinking of moving all of that a little bit down and to the left. Because I think her chest is way too far down. But I don't draw them very often, so I can't really say. I don't have much reference in that, you know? Might have to change this. So, yeah. Also, I got a little bit confused with her, like, how do I say this? The way her shirt is drawn, if you can see this here, right? Let me see. So if you look at this reference sheet here, right? She has this, like, small black rim that's essentially separating her shirt from her skirt. And yeah, I'm not quite sure if I managed to do that right. Anyway, don't have much else to say here. I have a bunch of reference for Kivia, although apparently it's a lot more difficult to find anything on her that's useful. I didn't find a character sheet, for example, but perhaps Pinterest is just not the best tool for all of that. I found a little figurine that I think could be very useful because there's a bunch of bends, and I most often than not with this sort of, what I'm looking for in reference isn't necessarily an accurate representation to perfectly redraw the character, right? I just want some information about the more difficult things. Like I can copy this shoulder, this pauldron essentially, right? By eye. That's not difficult. But sometimes I have issues with how things bend and move around when they are attached to the joints and such, right? So like elbows, knees, ankles, sometimes the wrists as well. And so I was mostly looking for reference for her like leg and how the greaves essentially work with that. So yeah, this is most likely the reference I'm going to use while drawing her, just so I can understand, the clothing. I've been thinking if I shouldn't just change what she's wearing to a more casual look, to something like what she was wearing in, it was one of the later episodes of the anime, where they're essentially trying to bait the enemy to attack them. She was like wearing this like casual outfit. I think a mantle, just a white blouse, shirt, whatever. Some white top. And I think jeans or something similar, like some sort of pants. Anyway. Yes. I don't think I have much else to say here. Unfortunately, the entire hour up until this point got lost in the ether. So, yes, I'm kind of tilted, but I just can't help it today. I am in severe pain of a magnitude you cannot imagine. And yes, I just can't get concentrated. I can't focus properly. So yeah, I'm gonna go now. Unfortunately, I wish I could do more for today, but mistakes happen. I'm kind of thinking her head is incorrect. Like I don't know. You're looking weird, Kivia. Your head's looking weird. Oh well. I'll come back tomorrow with new eyes that I stole from somewhere. I noticed just a bunch of things, like lot more similarities than I um, remember noticing, I guess, when I picked the characters. Like, honestly, I just wanted to draw Psycho because partially um, High School of the Dead is the reason why I'm trying to get better at drawing, because I want to animate the scene I have in my head. So very soon we might check out how to animate, you know. And while I'm not particularly great at drawing yet, I think it wouldn't hurt, trying to figure out how to do this. And I might need a new intro anyway. At least something that's saying starting now, ending now, that kind of thing. We'll see. Might just make like some random ass background. I don't know yet. I don't know. Can't say. For now, I want to finish this, get to coloring, and then shading. I've been thinking, since I have an issue with how I put down color, right? I usually pick it from the color wheel by eye. And while I really like that, the issue that quite often arises from this approach is that you very quickly end up running into the issue that your values are all over the place. All right. So let's say this is just what I picked right now, right? 3 tones of red, no hue shift, just simple, just simple stuff. But let's say I also need a yellow. Now I have to replicate, right, this type of yellow. So I suppose, wait, why does this look so green? Anyway, there's just an issue with how well I can transfer the values between different colors. I don't know how to say this. I'm having issues staying consistent with my values across different colors, essentially. So since I'm picking them by eye, then usually I also go for a hue shift, Not much, but slight hue shift. If I'm going darker or, brighter in either direction. Honestly, I do it in a way, it's kind of like by intuition, but also just random sometimes. Kind of feels weird, but I usually get the colors I want, I like. What happens though is the values are just wrong. They're just off. They don't work quite that well. So, yeah. Don't know why I brought that up anymore. I think I'm just starting to yap now. So, I'm gonna end it here for today. Unfortunately, I don't have any footage for you for what I did, but it's essentially just the head. I just drew that head. I just drew this head, essentially, because I just couldn't focus. I just couldn't. I just had too much pain. My leg is killing me, actually, and it's still doing it. So I'm gonna see what I can do about that. Find a solution and come back refreshed tomorrow. 6 out of 10, guys. Remember, that's actually helpful, I found that it's actually helpful because it keeps you from trying to be a perfectionist about things you can't perfect since you don't have the skills. So you don't end up running yourself out of, well, I wouldn't say motivation, but perhaps interest or it's similar. It's hard to describe. When I don't keep this side of myself in check, right? I just lose interest in keeping on drawing this particular piece, Like what happened with herbs. Drawing, like Lisa's drawing, I mean. Elizabeth Rose Blood Flame, like the fan art I was trying to make. And yeah, I was constantly trying to improve on it and improve on it and improve on it and improve on it. And I just redrew it like 3, 4, 5 times, I don't remember. And I just ended up losing all interest in it, you know, because I didn't keep myself in check enough. So, yes, everyone needs a limiting factor, especially when you're out there learning things as difficult as art. You just need to limit yourself in what you learn at once, you know, at what you actually, what your like schedule looks like in terms of learning, or what your output looks like in terms of fan art you're trying to produce. Because otherwise you end up going 100 days, right, without producing anything, like I am currently. But we're fixing it. So, hey, could be worse. At least I'm feeling good about it, about my progress so far. It could be worse. I could not be drawing, for example, right? And I wouldn't want that. So I'm glad I'm here. Anyway, I'm yapping. I have to go now. Hope you have a very nice rest of your Tuesday. Hope it didn't yap your ear off instead of drawing. But, you know, sometimes you mess up. It is what it is. Anyway. I think I said everything important. Well, take care of yourselves. And I'll probably see you next time. Very likely. Hopefully in better health as well. So, yes. Do not strain yourself too much. You know? I've learned that patience pays off. You know? Even if you are behind 500 steps. Well, not always, but it depends, right? It depends. Are you running a marathon or are you running a sprint? Right? You have to know these things. And I mean this in a metaphorical sense. Metaphorical sense? I think that's the word. Obviously, right? Are you running a sprint? Are you running a marathon? In the case of art, you know, it would be great if I had started 10 years ago. Would have been amazing. Perhaps today I would already be an established artist working for, I don't know, whoever pays me the most, I guess. I don't know. I could have created like 10 different pilots for a show or whatever, right? But that's unfortunately not been the case. So I have to play the hand that I've been dealt. That's just how it is. And unfortunately, art is very much a marathon. You can't rush it. You just can't. It doesn't work. It doesn't. You can try and work yourself to the bone, sitting here for 12 hours and quitting after 5 days. Right? You can try that. I don't think it's gonna be working. On that note, however, what does work, I think, is actually just challenging yourself to go outside of your comfort zone for obvious reasons, right? And I'm sure you've heard this like 10 billion times before. But I personally want to try drawing like a comic or something. So what I will be trying to do after finishing this character illustration here, or test illustration, what do we call this? Like training thing? Yes, whatever. After finishing this and the 2-hour landscape drawing that comes after it, I think I'll work on my speed and figure out ways to do this faster. Perhaps even using like 3D mannequins to quickly essentially draw different poses. I don't know how people do it. You know, I have no idea how the production side works in terms of like mangas or comics or that sort of thing. Are they all pulling these poses just out of their head and as if God ordained them to do so, just place all of the perfect drawings on the canvas? I don't know. Or are they using like 3D models to draw over and then add the detail, right? I have no idea. I'm just looking at some of these like Chinese authors in a way, and I'm like, are you drawing this yourself? Like, how many child sweatshops are you using for this stuff to be released almost every day? It's like you said, like 520 chapters for like I don't know. Some of the worst like stories I've ever read. And that's I'm not trying to, put them down or anything, but the truth remains itself or as such, regardless if you like it or not. So they don't really produce like Van Gogh, Van Gogh's like drawings, or paintings. They don't really produce like Beethoven's ninth, every time they make music. That much is obvious just by the sheer quantity. I don't think any human would be able to do this. But I certainly do wonder about their skill, because there's something about this speed that they're producing this stuff, even if it is low quality, that I just want to take a part of. Like I want to be that fast. I want to draw this quickly. That would certainly help, I think. I don't know. We'll see. Might try to make a comic, or I might just go into making a video game very soon. So, yeah, don't know yet how much I'm going to be streaming of that. We'll see. Certainly, all of the asset making, like in terms of art, So, I'm not too sure what I'm going to be making. Is it going to be a visual novel? Is it just going to be like a short pixel art-ish game? I don't know yet. I'm kind of thinking pre-rendered strategy game, kind of like the Blitzkrieg or Sudden Strike, I think is the name in English. Like Sudden Strike games, like the first 3 or 2, no, the first 2 I think were pre-rendered. Thinking something like that, perhaps. We'll see. We'll see. Don't want to promise anything I can't keep, so yes. Anyway, that's it for today. Despite having said that earlier, but yeah. Keep yourself safe. Safe? Keep yourself safe. Keep yourselves safe. Stay healthy. Take care of your body as per usual, the usual stuff. And have fun while drawing. Perhaps don't think you're streaming when you aren't. Would help. Anyway, I'm gonna be going now. See you next time. And yeah, thanks for stopping by, I guess.